Welcome to John Esser Sports Channel, where we're doing League One Week 36 predictions, and I tried with the Championship guys to do a lot more research, and it went through the roof. Instead of a 30-minute video, 28, 29, 30 minutes, it went to 1 hour 4. It really is quite insane. If you want me to do it, I will do, guys, but just make a comment in the box. I can afford another couple of hours research. But let's go on with Week 36 of League One. And we're going to Crawley versus Reading. And Crawley have been playing some different style football in that they were doing really well, and then for 30, 35 minutes, then sort of a little really badly for the rest of the games. And now recently they've changed it, and they're playing a lot more evenly, not quite as bad in the bad periods, but they're getting that energy from not playing as all out for that sort of short period, which had made an improvement until the last 3 games, really. So in the last 6, they've won, drawn, lost against Blackpool 3-1, lost against Cambridge 2-0, and then lost against Lincoln City 4-1. Now, they played really well. They actually started that game really well. But then, all of a sudden, they seem to just disappear off the face of the earth. I mean, they scored on 6 minutes, and it looked like they might be able to do this. But with just 2 shots on target, 1 goal, great percentages, isn't it? But only 8 during the entire game. And they had most of the possession, 57% possession. Lincoln City just did more with it when they realised that they had to do something to get this back. 17 shots, 7 on target, 4 in the net. Ouch, what precision is that? And the game was good. The game was a show of you could see the point where Lincoln just seemed to think, we're going to get ourselves off as backsides and start playing football here, because they've not been doing very well up to that point, and they've been sort of not great, should we say. So Crawley got hit by a side really insisting that being at home, we have to do better than this. 4-1 defeat. But they're playing a Reading side that can get there. They look where they are. They're in 8th position, 54 points, and 7th position is literally sort of 3 points ahead of them. And 6th position is just 4 points ahead of them. The 2 sides ahead of them, Bolton and Huddersfield, Bolton are probably on the up and Huddersfield are on the down. But they are catchable, and Reading are just like within touching distance of being able to do this. But they just don't seem to be quite clicking constantly enough for me. I'm busy trying to find the midweek game. Oh, it's a 0-0 one. We said Reading would win this one and just nicking it with a 1-0 win. But it wasn't. It was a 0-0. And really, they could have done with a win there. Really could have done with a win at home to Exeter. Didn't quite come off. And will that be a bit of a downer for them? Will it hit them? I don't think it will. They've been playing well for such a big period at the beginning. Then they sort of dropped off a little bit. Then they've started to come back, I think. And I think Reading with a draw, win, draw. They certainly are doing quite well. And I can see that not losing pattern continuing. It's a case of, will Crawley be able to pull something back and get some of those draws back in here? And a draw is certainly a possibility. What are you saying? 1-0 to Reading, 1-0 to Reading, 1-0 to Crawley, 2-1 to Reading. On the goals front, I just like that precision. The precision. I think that Reading can be quite good. I think Reading can be quite good at scoring. However, just didn't appear last time, did it, against Exeter? I can't see it being a high scoring one. I think I'm going to go with most of you lot and say it's going to be a 1-0 win. But who to? I'm going to go with Crawley 0, Reading 1, and we'll go to Stockport versus Charlton. So we go Stockport versus Charlton, and a little bit of a similarity here. Stockport last time out drew 1-1 with Northampton, but they had a good amount of play. And if anybody was actually looking at that game, you were probably thinking, yeah, there was only 5 shots on target in the entire game, and 4 of them were for Stockport. So they do actually get good shots on target. 4 shots on target, 1 in the net. For Stockport, they would have been quite disappointed at the top end. You need to be getting nearer to a 1 in 3. In the middle, probably 1 in 4, such as that. Northampton, so 6 shots, 4 on target, remember, out of 60% possession. So they had a lot of possession. Should have got more shots off at target than 6. However, 4 out of 6 on target was pretty good. They're obviously aiming better than most people around that area. That is an excellent percentage. And then you go for the Charlton at Barnsley, and it's similar, because if you look at how many, Charlton actually only had 47% possession, not 60. But they had 8 shots and 4 on target. So they too are getting a good percentage of their shots on target. But there's just not we would expect more shots of it. They actually won Barnsley 1-0. And Barnsley are just having a torrid time of it recently, aren't they? And I think most people did expect a win for Charlton there. We expected 1-0. We expected 2-0, and it was 1-0. I think that this game is going to be quite interesting, because if you look at those percentages and how they're playing, Stockport can play really good football, and it's no wonder when you look at where they are. 4th, Stockport, 61 points. 5th, Charlton, 59 points. There's going to be points dropped here just at a point when Huddersfield, Bolton and possibly Reading are breathing on their necks, thinking we want them to drop points so we can now get closer. And it's going to be a really, really difficult game. A lot of people are thinking that Stockport, they've just started to hiccup a little bit here, and they have started to hiccup. But you've got to remember, we're getting to the end of the season where there's lots of injuries, there's red cards, and there's mounting up yellow cards, and there's also just general fatigue. And it's for all teams. We can't just say, our team's got excessive amount of injuries. A lot of teams have got injuries at this point in the season. Looking at that and thinking, you're still thinking that these two teams are bloody similar. I'm just thinking about the guy that comes off the bench for Stockport and has scored twice. He scored in both his last 2. He's come on as a substitute twice, isn't he? Once in the last game, once in the game before, and scored in both those games. And I'm thinking that this young lad could be the difference that Stockport need. What do you think, Stockport fans? Because I tell you what are you all saying? 1-0 to Stockport, 1-1, 2-1 to Charlton. I'm actually going to go with this young lad. I'm going to go with, it's going to be Stockport 1, Charlton 0. And that young lad's going to come off the bench again, and he's going to score the winner. And we're going to go for Barnsley versus Blackpool next. And this is another difficult one, isn't it? Barnsley versus Blackpool. So Barnsley in 10th, I believe. Barnsley still in 10th. Blackpool in 13th. And Blackpool are just the draw specialists, aren't they? Draw, win, lose, draw. And their draws are being against sides such as Burton, Rotherham, Mansfield, and they're not doing too good. And Peterborough, who are sort of showing signs of improving, but I think they're just about bottomed out, I think. Against a Barnsley side, Barnsley at home, lose, win, lose. They played pretty rubbish against Rotherham, but Rotherham played even worse, and they came out with a 2-1 win at Rotherham. Northampton 2-1 win, and then a Lincoln 4-3 win, and you're thinking, they nearly lost in their 4th 1-up, was it? And then all of a sudden, they did what my Barnsley subscribers say. They lose it in either the first minutes or the last minutes, and they went from 4-1 up to 4-3. I mean, they must be panicking like hell. But they did manage to stay on for that win. And then they lost against Charlton midweek 1-0, and you're thinking, this side really is up and down at the minute. I was thinking that they, just as you thought they were getting back into this, they just managed to drop it, and you think just didn't go right. Although we did get the score. We did say 2-0 to Charlton, and it was 1-0. So we did predict it was going to be a bad day for Barnsley, but I still think that they're getting slightly better against a Blackpool side who's way on the draws. I think that that we're going to see a game here where they really don't want. Certainly, Barnsley don't want to be losing this. Let's face it, Barnsley could still make it just about into that sixth slot. They're a fair bit behind, but the teams above them aren't all winning. They aren't all. I don't think any of them are on a really good winning run. Bolton perhaps, but there's enough points being lost by the teams above them, I think, for them to, if they get their act into gear now, just about get somewhere near that sixth slot. But this would, I think, be the last time that they're really going to do it. This is game 36, 10 games to go after this. Against a Blackpool team that is probably as good as on the beach as you're going to get. And I really don't think that then, I think the mentality is going to be similar to the Rotherham one. Let's just try a few different things. Let's throw a few different ideas out. Let's put people in different positions. Let's see if we can just jiggle it around for next year. And I think that's more than likely going to happen. But will that be something? Could that produce a side that is actually not just going to be a draw specialist? Could win it? Well, what are you saying? 1-1, 1-1, 2-1 to Barnsley. I think that Barnsley have been improving. Blackpool, I think they are as good as on the beach. I think Rotherham are as good as on the beach as well. And I know I got a dislike for saying that on one of my shorts, but comment instead of saying that. What do you think? Do you think that Blackpool are on the beach? Do you think Rotherham are on the beach? Comment down below. Don't give me a dislike. Just that ruins the video. Comment down below. And give me your results that you think is going to come off for the next week's game, weeks 37. I think it's going to be a very, very close game. I think Barnsley will just edge this, and they're at home. I'm going to go with Barnsley 2, Blackpool 1, and we'll move on to Birmingham versus Lincoln. Here we are, Birmingham. We're putting you in your right place this time. So this is where half my views just disappear down the Swanee straight after. Please do just keep it on and in the background and listen to what I say. Just give me a few more minutes view time, and I would really like it, Birmingham fans. So we got Birmingham. Where are they in the league? Oh yeah, they're first against Lincoln in 12th. Lincoln they're a strange side, aren't they? They played really well for a good chunk of the league, and then all of a sudden this season they seem to have just dried up a little bit and slowed down. But they don't just. They can score, and they scored 7 in the last 2 games. But they only won 1 of them. We go for Birmingham, 1-0 win, 2-1 win, 0-0 draw, 2-0 win, 1-0 win against Wickham, which was really good, really solid. And then last time out, a Bolton 3-1 defeat, which we will go into because I had to ban someone for abusive language. Or if you're going to do that against me, you will be banned. against a Lincoln side, draw, lose, win, lose, lose, win. Now, the Barnsley, the Birmingham fan that I banned said, no, it wasn't. It was a Bolton fan that I banned. Turned round and says, "Oh, we weren't part of the bus. Well, you don't know anything about football. It's bad enough young kids being on here. Oh, let alone old fogies like you. Duh." Now, if you're going to be nasty, you get banned and you won't come back. You come back as a different person, I'll still ban you. It's for fun. Everybody get on with each other, and that's what my live streams are about on Saturdays. If you want to come along, have a chat in the chat box. It's about fans having a nice time, chatting with each other, chatting with me, and we talk through the games. Bolton game, for instance, and I have done some research on this, by the way, from other people. See, Bolton played from the back. They went behind, but they knew that they were actually, although they were playing from the back, they had sort of parked the bus for the first 30 minutes. And then all of a sudden they realised that they could actually get something from this game, and they started playing from the back but further up the pitch. And they started pressing them. But they still played from the back like most people who play Birmingham do. From the back, park the bus and go forward. And this person will say, well, Bolton won't park the bus. You don't know Bolton at all. They did park the bus, absolutely. But what they did from behind the bus was absolutely amazing. They played from the back, and they actually managed to get those probing attacks absolutely spot on. And they did a damn good job. And they deserved that win, absolutely. Bolton 3, Birmingham 1. And I didn't see that coming at all. And I don't think many other people, apart from Bolton fans, saw that. I did hear a few Birmingham fans saying they were worried. They don't tend to get very good results against Bolton, apparently. And again, they didn't. So there were a few rumblings around the Birmingham fans I heard saying, I don't think it's going to be as easy as we think it's going to be. And it wasn't. So spot on, Birmingham fans. You seem to understand where the difficult game was coming, and unfortunately you got it right. But I do apologise. I didn't think that Bolton would be able to do those probing runs from the back, because Birmingham have got such great players. You would have expected them to be able to drown out any sudden attacks from that emanate from the back third, but they didn't, and they managed to get through. So really good game there from Bolton. Having said that, they still do seem to be the best team in the league. It's just and I think that was just a blip. Lincoln City 1-1 draw, 3-2 defeat, 3-0 win, 1-0 defeat, 4-3 defeat. Coming back brilliantly there against Barnsley, and a 4-1 win midweek against Crawley. Now, these are all games, and they came back from that, didn't they? They came back in that one as well. Yeah, so they're really doing well coming back from being behind. But I just can't see them coming back from behind against Birmingham. But they do score an awful lot of goals. Birmingham have got a lot of injuries. I'm not sure, but I think a lot of my subscribers from Birmingham, they're not really happy about the second in command goalie. And I must admit, he played some pretty shockers. He did play some shocking goalkeeping the last time I saw him. So what are you saying? 1-0 to Birmingham, 2-0 to Birmingham, and 2-1 to Lincoln. I'm going to go with that. I'm going to go with one. I'm going to go with Birmingham 2, Lincoln 1. I think that if their goalkeeper doesn't come back in Birmingham, I think you're going to let one in. I'm just not. I'm probably going on the side of some of the Birmingham fans' comments, especially one in the who was on the live stream last weekend. I'm thinking, he doesn't endow him with greatest of confidence, I think his text went. But great. I'm going to go with 2-1 win there. And we'll go to Bristol Rovers versus Huddersfield. Do stay online, Birmingham fans. Come on, give me some watch time. We're going Anyway, we're going Huddersfield, so you have to stay on for the Huddersfield game, don't you? Now, to me, we have two really inconsistent teams here. We have Bristol Rovers, who can be pretty good. They drew last time out against Shrewsbury Town, though, but we must remember that Shrewsbury they're fighting for their lives down at the bottom, and they need to get better, and they are getting better. 15 shots from 44% for Shrewsbury Town, really good. 5 of them on target, excellent. None in the net. They would have been, even down there, they would have been disappointed at that. Bristol Rovers, 56% possession, 17 shots, 3 on target, and that's why I'm saying this, the stats here. Bristol Rovers seem to just fire off at will, and they seem to just be, let's have a quick shot, whereas I think Shrewsbury Town seem to be more sort of planned, aimed, and targeted, and we just have a Bristol City team just capable of doing something here, but they're a bit inconsistent. And then you've got the same with Huddersfield. They played Wrexham. Obviously, we would have expected them to lose against Wrexham, wouldn't we? But they're up there in the top 6, and I thought that they would really take the bit between their teeth and start to try and challenge for that the top 3, certainly. But they just don't seem to me to be hitting it often enough. Very inconsistent. Against Wrexham, 60% possession to Huddersfield, 13 shots, 2 on target. So you can see I'm getting here 2 teams that are just, they're very capable of firing. Both of them are capable of shooting. Make no bones about it. They can both shoot and make an apps. This game is going to be so good for a neutral. There's going to be shots galore. I can see there being sort of Huddersfield, 20 shots plus, quite likely. Bristol Rovers, they'll be to the teens, and I can see that happening here. Where are they in the league? We've got Huddersfield in 6th, and they really do need to be getting away from those teams below them as soon as they can. Bristol Rovers in 20th, and they've a team in 20th to have gone 3, 4, 5 points out of 6. Not quite good enough, but that you've got to remember that they did really quite poorly against Rotherham. They lost 3-2. Apart from that, they did well against Wycombe, 2-0 defeat, and it was Wycombe that they played. Northampton, who've been playing relatively well in spells, they lost against them 2-1. So they have been playing sides that they could have won, but they just didn't quite get that consistency on the day. They're going to be wanting to make sure that they pull away from that bottom 4. So we've got both wanting to win this, and it's strange because before I've been saying, look, they just don't want to lose. They just don't want to lose. I think that now, with them being 3 points above Burton in 21st, it's not a case that they don't want to lose. It's a case they need to win 1 or 2 here. So what I've been saying about as long as they don't lose it, well, unfortunately, they have lost three of their last 4, and I don't think that even a draw would help Bristol Rovers. So on this occasion, I think it's going to be a really, really good game. I think there's going to be lots of shots. I still think there's not going to be many on target. I still think both will shoot a hell of a lot of times, but not placing it's going to mean this could be a relatively low-scoring game. Let's have a look at what you're all thinking. 2-2, 1-1, 1-0 to Huddersfield, 2-1 to Huddersfield. So we are thinking in the same sort of lines. This could actually go either way, really. Bristol Rovers, I think, will be wanting to more than just a draw. However, I think that Huddersfield do have a little bit extra, but they are away from home. I'm going to go with one of you, and I'm surprisingly going to go with Bristol Rovers 2, Huddersfield 2. Won't help Bristol Rovers at all, I fear. However, Huddersfield, it might just about be enough to keep them in up there in the playoff zone, and then perhaps for a quick getting people ready for that the playoffs. Where do we go next? We go Burton versus Bolton next, and we got the Bolton game wrong, didn't we? So apologies done to the Bolton fans. We go into this game thinking Burton Albion. We'll go with the table first. Bolton is 7th on 57 points. They're only 1 point behind Huddersfield in 6th. They really are pushing for this, aren't they? And they've been playing really well. And they've been winning or losing on them on a lot of them. They're not by no means draw specialists. However, Burton Albion are draw specialists. 35th position, 21st position. I was thinking of the number of games. 21st position, 35 games, 12 draws. They are drawing an awful lot. Only Blackpool. Is it only Blackpool that's ahead of them? Yeah, only Blackpool have drawn more on 15. So it's really, really important, this game for them. They're in 30. They're on 33 points. They need to catch Bristol Rovers, who are 3 points ahead of them, and unfortunately they're playing Bolton. Burton Albion, draw, lose, win, draw, lose. You know, that, make no bones about it, they played some really good games. The Stevenage game was really good. That was a win. Their Lincoln City game was a dogged performance. I mean, it wasn't a brilliant performance, but they managed to make something of it, and they were the ones that came out with the win. And I think that they should be proud of how many points they've got over the last 6. I mean, they've got 6, 7, 8 points in 6 games. That is pretty good, and that could get them out of the bottom 4. But that means that someone is going to get dropped in it. And we've already noted that Bristol Rovers have not been getting that enough points to certainly be ahead of a charge like Burton seem to be on. Can they keep it up against Bolton? Well, I think they can keep the charge up, and I think they'll keep the improved performances up. But Bolton's side is just a little bit better. Well, it's a lot better than the Burton side. But Burton do have some good players in there, and there's some good fit players in there. There's bits of injuries, and there's bits of poor form from players. But you're going to get that near the end of the season. And I can see that from both sides. Both sides have had players who, on one game, just doesn't quite perform as well as they should do, on one or two of them. What are you all saying? 2-0 to Bolton, 2-1 to Bolton, 2-0 to Bolton, 2-0 to Bolton. You know something, I'm going to go with everybody and go Burton 0, Bolton 2. And we'll just move on to Exeter versus Shrewsbury. Now, Exeter-Shrewsbury is obviously a nice lower part of the division game. So let's see how this one's going to go. So let's go to table first. Exeter are in 19th, Shrewsbury in 24th. Now you'd think, with so many points separating them, 9 points, yeah, it should be a walkover for Exeter. However, if you look at how they've been playing, Exeter lose, draw, win against Cambridge though. Lose, draw. There's a loss against Charlton, which would be expected. A 4-1 defeat against Stevenage, which was probably expected. A 2-2 draw against Nottingham Forest, which certainly wasn't expected. So they can play really well. Shrewsbury Town, draw, lose, draw. And you're thinking, yeah, they're certainly not showing any signs of getting... Well, actually, they are. I thought they played quite well against Peterborough. And that 1-0 defeat at home to Stevenage, I thought they played reasonably well for where they are and how they had been playing. I think they've been improving, but very, very steadily. And I just want to go to the two teams' last games. I think this really is showing how the performance levels, how the injuries, how the fitness levels are acting on their team at this minute. So Exeter drew 0-0 with Reading. Now in that game, Exeter had just 40% possession, but they actually had 11 shots on target. 11 shots at target. One of them on target. You see where I'm coming from. They're not afraid to shoot. Absolutely not. Even if with 40% possession, they'll catch you on the break and they'll fire at goal at the first opportunity. But they're not that accurate, and that's what's been the issue to me. Like, I think they had a Crawley draw 4-4, didn't they? And they were miles behind, and they suddenly started to take them on the break, and it ended 4-4. And none of the fans expected it at half time. They were all thinking, shall we go home, apparently. That's what the Exeter fans told me. So Exeter can play good football on the break, but they tend to just let it go on the break, bang, into the box, shoot, and sometimes it's on target, but most of the time it isn't. Shrewsbury Town played Bristol Rovers. We've already looked into this, but let's just look at it from a Shrewsbury point of view, because obviously Shrewsbury at home, 44% possession. They would have hoped for more than that, but with 15 shots at target, that was good. 5 shots on target, and I think that shows that they're actually they're a little bit better when they get in the box than what Exeter are at this moment in time. And I still believe that Shrewsbury have a chance here. Exeter 19, Shrewsbury 24th. Let's see. Oh wow, what are we all thinking here? 1-1. 1-0 to Shrewsbury, 2-1 to Shrewsbury, and that is that's from people. They're from people who've done their research as well. I can't see there being a lot of goals here, but I do think it's going to be a Shrewsbury win. You know, I'm going to go with Exeter 1, Shrewsbury 2. I really do think that they've got a chance here. They certainly, if they do pressurise Exeter enough, Exeter will use the hit and run, which shouldn't be doing at home. They should be able to take hold of the game, but we've seen they can lose it at home and not take hold of the game and control it. So I just think that may happen here. We'll go to Orient versus Northampton next. And Orient, this is a season, an amazing season. They didn't do that well. Then they excellent. First couple of games, I think they was like finding the feet, bang, straight up there. They've had the waves of being good and bad and good. At the minute, they're in 9th, and they would have probably hoped that they'd have stayed further up there. Because they looked like they were going to surge straight into the top 6, didn't they, at one point? It's like just eased off a little bit recently against Northampton in 18th. Now, Orient 53. I mean, I don't. They could technically still make it to the top 6, but I think the top 6 now is sort of being pretty much. It's been narrowed down quite nicely. So what we got? Leyton Orient win, lose. The last 4 losses have been against Bolton, yeah, but they've been playing really well. Birmingham, well, you expect that. Charlton Athletic, yeah, well, you'd expect that as well. But then had a Rotherham defeat 1-0, and Rotherham played as one of the Rotherham people who went there and did a video on it. He says, yeah, well, Rotherham played very meh. I suppose we won. And Orient just didn't really play very good football at all, I don't think. And they've got a good side, a lot better than Rotherham's. Against Northampton, win, lose, draw. They're starting here to get something together to push away from that bottom 4. I think personally they have they're sort of approaching that point where one or two more wins and they're on the beach. Especially if they get them in the next couple of games. And I think if they can get a win here, they can look forward to just trying a few different things out on the pitch just to see whether they work. And it's great fun. There's no stress. There's nothing bad about losing, because you can try things out then for next year, and hopefully the fans would see that. We're not going down, but we're going to try a few different things, and if they work, we can do that next season, and it'll work from day one. Will that be the way that it happens, Orient versus Northampton? You can see that the style is, I think the style is more in Orient's favour. I think Leyton Orient's style and quick play is really something that I like. Northampton would have to stop that quick pass, quick play that they can do. What are you all saying for this game? 1-0 to Orient, 3-1 to Orient, 3-1 to Orient. I don't think it's going to be as many goals as that. I think that Northampton have been doing really well. They're letting in a goal in nearly all the games. They won 1-0 in Mansfield 6 games ago, but most of the time they let sort of goal in. And I think it's just going to be a case of, can they score one? It could be 1-1 this. Believe me, I think it could be 1-1. But I'm going to go with Leyton Orient 1, Northampton Town 0. And we'll move on to one of the top games, which is Peterborough versus Wycombe Wanderers. So, Peterborough in 17th. Again, they're sort of one or two more games and they'll be firmly on the beach. And Wycombe Wanderers in second on 67 points. If they lose too many here, will they get to 90 points? They should be they should be sort of pretty close to the 87, 88. This could be a very close second place. I think a lot closer than what we think. So. What about the actual stats? Trying to look for all my notes that I've got. Peterborough lose, draw, win, draw, win, draw. They seem to be pulling out a few draws, but Wycombe do as well. And this is the thing I was on about then. Draw, win, draw, lose, win. The loss, obviously, Birmingham, they parked the bus, and I couldn't believe they parked the bus. I thought they were going to attack them. They didn't attack, and I thought, you've just lost the chance of winning that game, because you're going to do the same as everybody else, and everybody else loses it. Well, everybody except for Bolton. And you just don't see that that's not the right way of doing it. But you see that they're all drawing. This could play into Peterborough's hands, because they're going to want to show that they can get on the beach as quickly as they can and just try a few different things out for next season, because the change in formation and the way they play that they did at the beginning of this season just didn't quite work out. He'll be wanting to use the last 10 games to try and work out how on earth does he change it for next season and try a few things out. Now that it doesn't matter because you're not going down, you're not going up, we can try some different things. And that's what managers tend to do if they get on the beach early enough. This team can do that, Northampton can do that, and my team Rotherham can probably already doing that. Although Evans tends not to do that. It's going to be a hard one to think about. Peterborough against Blackpool. Peterborough 60% possession, but 11 shots, which is not bad. It's not brilliant, but it's not bad. But 4 of them were on target, which is pretty good. You would have expected them to have scored from 4, but they didn't. What about Wycombe? They played Burton, 2-0 winners. Now, you would have expected them to have won a little bit more than that. Wickham, 19 shots from 59% possession, 8 on target, and 2 goals. Well, 1 in 4 is really good for a sort of mid-table side. They certainly can shoot and aren't afraid of shooting. I think that Wickham will have a little bit too much for Bolton, but for Peterborough. Wickham are going to have too much for Peterborough. I just can't see them getting enough, stopping all those shots that Wickham tend to fire off. It's just going to be a case of can Peterborough shock them by getting a goal in there? Because believe it or not, Wickham can just let the odd goal in now and again. 2-0 though. That's out of the last 6. So 1-0 you're saying. Somebody's saying 1-0 to Wickham, 2-1 to Wickham, 1-1 draw. I'm going to say that there will be a goal for Peterborough. I think that Peterborough will score, but I think it's going to be Peterborough 1, Wickham 2. And we'll move on to Stevenage versus Mansfield. And what a time for Mansfield. They were my team to watch. And then all of a sudden, Lee Gregory is injured and he's out for the season. And we thought that they got a good... they tried a few different combinations up front during games as well. And it seemed that they might have an answer to this. But then it just seems to have dried up. So Stevenage lose, draw, lose, win. And they're starting to really get a couple more wins in there. They've been playing so well. And then they seem to just sort of dry up a little bit. And they've dropped. They dropped down quite way. And now they're back up to about 11th. They're up to 11th on 47. Mansfield have dropped to 16th on 40 points. And you can see this is, they've sort of swapped positions, these. Mansfield lose, draw, lose, draw. It's been a torrid time for Mansfield, hasn't it? And it's no wins in 11 for Mansfield at the minute. Can they get a win here? Let's go to what you're thinking. 2-0 to Stevenage, 1-0 to Stevenage, 1-0 to Stevenage. Let's just have a look at Stevenage Cambridge. So Cambridge 0, Stevenage 1 last time out. Stevenage 51% possession, one shot, none on goal. So how on earth did that one go? How can you have none on goal and they won 1-0? So 10 shots. Oh no, it's Cambridge 1 shot, none on goal, and Stevenage away side 10 shots, 5 on target, one goal. I'm going mad. Leave me alone. Comment down below what's wrong, with the Cambridge side there. Why did they at home only get 1 shot off? Because the Stevenage side is not really. They only had 49% possession. It's not as if they had a huge amount of possession. They had less passes as well. This is really weird. What were they doing with the ball? Most of the game is the question. So Stevenage are able to shoot. They are able to get it on target at a pretty decent rate. Mansfield, they seem to be doing enough in the realms of getting it up into the final third from what I've seen. 21 shots, 5 on target for Mansfield, and they draw 0-0. And Wigan only had 4 shots in the entire game. But they just don't seem to get anybody who can put it in the net. Lee Gregory's gone. Nobody's putting it in the net. And I'm just really worried that they can't do this. And I'm going to go with most of you. 2-0, 1-0, 1-0. I'm going to go with Stevenage 1, Mansfield 0. I'm sorry, Roy. I just can't see where you're going to get it in the net. I really can't. Wigan versus Cambridge next, and we'll whisk here too. Wigan versus Cambridge. Wigan are in in 15th position. Cambridge are in 22nd. Remember, they were on the bottom. They've done really well to get where they are. Wigan obviously drew last time out against Mansfield. They had some really good, a really good January window, I thought, but they just don't seem to have gelled, and getting it in the net doesn't seem to be their best plan at the minute against the Cambridge side, who seem to be playing similar points wise. So Wigan lose, draw, win, lose, draw. Cambridge draw, lose, win, lose. Their 2 wins against Crawley and Stockport County, so they can play some good football. But then 4-0 defeat against Birmingham. I just think that this side is a little bit inconsistent for me. However, I think that Cambridge here could nick it. I really do think you can nick it. What are you thinking? Wigan versus Cambridge, 0-1, 0-1, 0-0, 0-1. You know, I'll go with you lot, and I'll go with Wigan 0, Cambridge 1. Could be either way for me though. And then we go Wrexham versus Rotherham, and we'll finish with my side. Wrexham obviously win, lose, win, draw, win. They started to play with 5 at the back. They're now playing with 5 in midfield, but they still don't seem to change it mid-game. But there again, Rotherham don't either, so they won't have an issue with that. What they have been having an issue with, Wrexham, is some of the opponents know that if they start with 5 in mid, which they have been recently, they can now plan to try and beat it. And if it doesn't work, they can change their formation halfway through and try and beat it a different way. Wrexham tend not to do that the opposite way round, so that's why I think sometimes Wrexham have found it a little bit tough and not managed to get back into the game quite as easy. Rotherham though, they're playing pretty, as one of the other fans said on his live, meh football. Lower half football. Wrexham win, lose, win, draw, win. You know, I could see this being a draw. I really could see this being a draw. They have been just drawing 1 or 2 that it's like Peterborough draw and the Bolton draw. You know, I'm thinking, and it was the fact that Bolton draw was a 0-0. Don't get me wrong, that I just think that they can be held back and they can be stopped if you can control that midfield when they've got 5 in there. And it's a flat 5, not a staggered mid. Rotherham, though, last time out they obviously won. Lose, draw, lose, win. I can't see Rotherham winning this one. I can see Wrexham winning it by 1 goal. It could be a draw. It could be a sort of 1-1 draw. But I fear that it's going to be a 1-goal win. Wrexham, what are you saying? 3-2 win, 2-0 win, 1-0 win. I'm going to go with Wrexham 2, Rotherham 1. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for watching. It's John Esses Sports Channel around with one more League One Week 36 prediction. Like and subscribe. See you all in the lives.